when I was 7 years old. I had my first run-in with the police. I was caught stealing Hot Wheel cars from a mom and pop store in my hometown where I grew up at. The cops delivered me to my mama one-room flat and knocked on the door and drug me up there. And she signed some papers and she took me inside the house and she whooped my ass real good. She put my head between her legs and she commenced to give me the worst ass whooping I ever got. Anyway, growing up, learning how to swim in a cesspool, you around the thieves, the robbers, the killers, the molesters, the prostitutes, the panhandlers. This is common where I'm from. I'm from the pits of purgatory. So many years had passed and you just start thieving. I was a full-time thief. I'm not afraid to actually say that or admit that. And my friends were thieves, and their girlfriends and my girlfriends and our cousins and our uncles and some of our fathers and some of our mothers were full-time thieves. It was common to just run from the police because they was always after us because we were doing just doing crime. We were doing petty crimes. I learned to elevate the level of the crime. So if you got caught, it can mean, detention center, or it can mean county jail, depending on what age, what age you were or whatever. But again, it was just common for me to just run from the police and police to be after me. After so many years had passed, me and my friend Fat Boy, we took some jobs with some ruthless Jamaicans. I had the opportunity of learning how to be a master criminal from one of the greatest brutes ever born, Jamaican E.T. He was a master. He was a master criminal. He was a master criminal. He had a degree. He had an MBA. He had all the degrees in criminology. But he was a full-time criminal, and I learned from him, and he taught me well. So many years again had took us up to the capital of Mississippi, and I was real violent there. I did a lot of things there in Jackson, Mississippi that would put the average person away for a long, long time. And I was already common. It was already common knowledge for me to be able to knowing how to deal with the cops. Anyway, I was caught in this drug house. It was a lady named Gail, and it was the first time the police beat my ass. They kicked me in the chest. They beat some more guys I was with. They beat them up. These was all black police in Jackson, Mississippi. And I went back to tell my friend that, hey, these police, man, they ain't no joke. He wouldn't listen. And I kept going on my violent streak. I kept, indulging in violence. I was like, I was a live wire, so to speak. And again, 2 weeks later, the cops caught up with us in Jackson, Mississippi, and they whooped our ass unmercifully. This guy took a 2x4 and made us lay over old jalopy, a beat up car. And he beat me in Percy. Percy took the worst of the beating, but I knew then that under no circumstances would I tell, because I was only 17 years old, and the way they beat us, the length of time that they beat us, and how brutal this ass whooping was that the cops gave us, you understand, I didn't tell. Percy didn't tell. And we walked away with bruises, but we were free. So many years had passed again, and I had a run-in with the police in Brunson, in Levy County, Florida. If you're not familiar with Levy County, Florida, that's the same place that the movie Rosewood was depicted. It was Rosewood. It's actually in that county, but I was in Brunson County on I think Highway 27. The cops stopped me and my baby mama. I didn't have any driver's license. And to make a short story long or long story short, I fled from the cops and they shot at me. I didn't have no weapon. I was unarmed, like I just said, and the cops shot at me. I ended up getting away. I ran about 3 miles, but they ended up pulling me out and you know, doing some things to me and you know, roughing me up a little bit. Threw me in jail. I made bond the next day. Again, some run-ins with the police that was real unfortunate for me. But, you know, the moral of this story is the cops do whoop ass. The consequences are real for certain people. I was in Tallahassee, like 2 blocks from my daughter's house, and I was in the back of a club pissing in the woods. And a cop shined his flashlight back there and say, "Hey, what you doing?" I say, "I'm pissing." Right when I shook off the old boy and cuffed him in my underwear, they handcuffed me and took me to jail. I cussed them out. They took me to jail for a petty charge. It was indecent something. It was something got to do with disorderly conduct. They charged me with disorderly conduct. I went to leave from Tallahassee to be to a place that I revere as my home. And the police didn't like me there. They did everything in their power to apprehend me, to get me with something, but it never happened. And I ended up leaving, and they came to the same residence that I was at and busted in the apartment, and they were so much after me. They had left all of their important papers in a vanilla envelope, and that vanilla envelope was delivered to me by a close friend that went to the apartment that I used to reside in. Anyway, these papers ended up showing me how the police overstepped their boundaries a lot, more than a lot. The papers had all the cases that they had already written up for me was like I was already in jail. They saying something about they saw me preparing some stuff for the streets and this and that. The confidential informant saw me doing all these things, whatever. So, you know, it seemed like no matter where I go or where I went in my life, the police was always hot on my tail. And, you know, like I just described to you, some of it was a frame. A couple of years had passed again, and I had a run-in with some Gainesville police, and they treated me horribly. The case was a fabricated case, and they had to get rid of it. But again, this video is for anybody that's not in step with learning how to deal with the cops. If you're driving in your car, keep your glove box locked. If you smoke weed out of the car. Don't have weed on you, don't have it, smoking it in the car. Keep your glove box locked.